Welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast. If you're ready to take control of your destiny, build wealth, and live life on your own terms, this is the place for you. Each week, Nat and I will talk about business, franchising, and personal growth to help make you more successful. Good morning, Sean.
Hey, Pete.
Nat's not with us again today?
Yeah, no, he's not.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I think he's living the good life. Something here. He's doing something better than we are. So, all right. Well, you can hear it in my voice. I'm pumped up today.
As always, Pete. What are you pumped up about, though?
Oh, you know what? Today is a very special day. I become an empty nester. I got one of my kids off the payroll. So I'm an empty nester for the first time in my life. You know, we got 4 kids. And so nobody in the house. And so now my wife is not having any kids to focus on. She's going to focus on making me better. And I don't need any help getting any better, right? From the standpoint. But as excited as I am, I'm kind of bummed out because my son was always here to help with stuff, right? And specifically, one of the things we do every year is we put up holiday lights because I don't really like that. But unfortunately, I'm on a street where I have a friend that has won the best holiday lighting display in all the Chicago metropolitan area. This guy built his house for holiday lights, right? So it's hard enough just having some lights so I don't disappoint him as people drive by to see his lights because they drive from everywhere to see him. But now I got to do this thing by myself. And so I'm super excited about the guest that we have today. He's actually I think can help me. If they get a franchisee here, I need their help. So I'm really excited to introduce Travis Miller. Travis Miller is with Horsepower Brands and specifically the president of Blingle. So welcome, Travis.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to need you. We'll get into that in just a bit. But Travis, I know you've been in franchising for a long time and had some real success, right? So you're not new to franchising.
I am not. It's been my entire professional career, about 12 years in franchising total.
So what have you done in franchising up until now?
So I started early on with a brand, a franchisee. So I worked for a franchisee as his director of sales and operations. And we had about 20 locations when I got there. And we grew to 68 locations nationwide, East Coast, West Coast, Southern Texas. Yeah.
Holy cow. How do you watch over that many and not lose your hair like I did?
Well, I'm losing it now. Okay. So it's catching up to me, but a lot of travel, a lot of good people. We had a lot of good people.
Absolutely. And for you now, you joined, how long have you been with Horsepower? Or how'd you find your way into Horsepower Brands?
So yeah, I was with that company for about 5 years. Crazy growth. I learned everything about franchising there. It was to me, it was like a master's degree in franchising. I had a mentor who was our CEO. I went on to open my own franchise locations, had 8 locations. Early on brand, we were the second franchisee to sign. And so we had 8 locations, a few different states. And then I came on to Horsepower Brands. I actually got a phone call from I've known Zach and Tony for a while now. How long have you known those guys?
Oh, years. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
great guys.
Yeah, so I've known them for, maybe like 8 years. And what I was told is that Tony Holbert, our CEO of Horsepower, told Zach it's time to call Travis. And so Zach called me, we had lunch, and I was like, are you trying to hire me? Or like, what are we doing here? Like, do you want me in development? Because I still had my my franchise locations that I owned there. And the rest is history. I came on as the VP of Sales and Ops for Horsepower Brands. I got to do a rebrand with Mighty Dog and then launch our next 3 companies.
You had a ton of experience. You had your own gig going, your own 8 franchise locations. So Horsepower Brands, we had Zach and Josh on our podcast, and it seems like they're building something special, right? I think they want to open up 25 businesses by 2025. So, what attracted you to joining Horsepower? The mission that they have.
Yeah, so I was with 2 early brands, and I think that we had sold half our locations, and I was looking for something different. And there's not a lot of franchisors here in Omaha, and Zach has always been a visionary, and Tony has always been, your integrator execution. And after meeting with those guys and just hearing their vision and what they wanted to do, I believe and then the addition of Josh Skolnick, obviously, who's been super successful, just those three and their vision, I wanted to be a part of it. I talked having development in-house, franchise rocket in-house. Those are a lot of the issues that people deal with, not finding the right franchisor. And I think half their vision they didn't even have yet, and it's to come. So just being a part of that and understanding what they were going to do and doing it the right way was it for me.
Yeah, I think about the stuff that they have, like their own digital marketing company, their own recruiting service, their own call center, their own, for lack of better terms, inventory and equipment management company where they buy the stuff, to their back end support, to the coaching. I mean, they've put together the complete package. And I think,
and it's I'll tell you, being a franchise owner and with a franchisee before, one of your biggest pain points is advertising agencies. You're always going through them, and it's kind of like a triangle, right? So you have the franchisor, the franchisee, and the marketing agency, and they're all pointing the fingers at each other. Well, we're the franchisor and the marketing agency, so we have complete ownership of what happens there. So if it's not good, it's here, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like they solve problems with everything. Instead of selling a franchise and saying you have to go, find your own people, you have to go find your own accounting, you have to go find your own marketing agency. It's all here.
Yeah, they really take all the pain points and make it easier. Business ownership, as you know, isn't easy, but if you got a parent behind you, right? All right, so Horsepower's a great umbrella company. They've got the infrastructure. So now you are the president of Blingle. So the first question is, what the heck does Blingle do?
Yeah, so we do a lot of things. We have a lot of different verticals. So we do landscape lighting, holiday lighting, patio lighting, event lighting. And then the one that people are probably most unfamiliar with is called permanent lighting. And it's basically permanent holiday lighting. It's on a strip and it goes on the fascia or under the soffit of your home. So you have it year round, control it with an app. It's pretty cool. Okay.
So I know that to set up Blingle, they purchased a lighting company, right? To use that as the infrastructure.
Yes.
And behind that was somebody that had a lot of expertise in holiday lighting.
Yeah. So he is exactly. He is our bloodline. And so they identified very early on that holiday lights, everybody runs out of lights. And so they were meeting with the distribution companies, and no one was going to be able to support our growth. And again, it's identifying issues and solving them. So what did we do? Well, Josh, Zach, Tony, they're like, well, we need a warehouse. We need a very big warehouse. And so that warehouse is 50,000 square feet, 50-foot ceilings. And they filled it with, I don't know what the actual number is. That's not my wheelhouse, is that vertical, but it is 10 million plus at cost in holiday lights. And that place is breathtaking to be inside.
Yeah, I can imagine. And that's really foresight, because to your point, the time you know what the demand is for holiday lights, you can't get them as a business owner. And so they've kind of solved that. They've taken that problem away. And
exactly.
My understanding is lights aren't kind of like the ones I would go buy at Home Depot, right? They're higher quality holiday lights.
Yes. Yep. So our lights twice as bright, no lights out guarantee is kind of our saying. And so people, it's a quality thing, right? It's like comparing cars, right? And so if you go to a store and you buy holiday lights, the lumens might be like 5 to 8, and lumens is the brightness. Ours, like our C9 bulbs that we use, are 25 to 28 lumens. So when we say twice as bright, sometimes they're like 5 times as bright.
Wow. I might need you guys. That's why I'm going to have you guys come do my house. So this is when I want holiday lights for my business, my home, even my local community, putting lights up in my trees in the downtown area. That's what you guys do. And that's a reoccurring revenue for the franchisees. Is that right?
It is. Yes. We are a full service rental is how you could simply put it. Is we do the design, we put them up, we maintain them while they're up, we take them down, and we store them.
Right. And when you talk about the design, I think you guys have like a home visualizer. You can kind of show me through a video or like an image what it's going to look like all set up.
Yeah. No matter how big or small the project, we'll take photos. So of like the house, right? So if we were doing your house, we take a picture of your house, we do a full design on it. So you can see your home digitally mocked up. You do the design with our lighting designer. Same thing with large commercial projects, no matter how big, how small.
Yeah, that's game changing from a standpoint. All right. So holiday lighting is kind of one vertical or revenue stream. And then you'd mentioned landscaping lights. So you guys do landscaping lights too and patio lights?
Yeah, yep. Landscape lights is our other big one. And that one will actually probably be much larger than holiday lights. Everybody focuses on the holiday lights because that's the company we acquired was a holiday lighting company.
Yeah.
And we attached the other vertical. So yeah, we're a full landscape lighting company.
Okay. And those are also superior products like better lumens and higher quality and more functionality?
Absolutely. So we go find the biggest, the best vendors out there to supply our franchisees. We have two different vendors that we use.
Okay. And then you also do the third revenue stream, if I remember correctly, is like event lighting. Like if I'm going to have a wedding for my daughter in the backyard, that's what you guys do?
Yeah. Weddings, bar mitzvahs, whatever, we do it. So
Okay.
and Lights for Christmas, the Lights for Christmas is that entity, that vertical that Horsepower Brands own, and they supply our holiday lights, our patio, like the bistro lights, and then the event lights as well.
Okay, got it. All right, so you guys, I know, are growing very quickly. So you got a great proposition between Horsepower and Blingle, because I don't think there are not any lighting franchises out there, right?
There's one other out there.
Okay.
But it's so just unfragmented.
Okay. So you guys are now the big dog. You're growing very quickly. I've placed multiple candidates into Blingle because people love it when they learn the story and the infrastructure, the support. So how many franchisees do you have now?
We have 33 franchise locations sold.
Okay, got it. Awesome. Yeah, very exciting. I mean, I love your story from that standpoint. Now, when you're looking for franchise partners, because I always tell people that partnership is what franchising is all about, right? Somebody decides they want to invest in a business. You're looking for business owners. So this is a partnership. So what are you looking for in future Blingle franchisees?
I think experienced, successful people, and whatever that success is, it doesn't really have a definition, but that are looking to build their own empire. They really want to be their own boss, build their own business, and leave behind a legacy of their own.
Got it. And, so that comes in many different forms, right? I don't have to have experience in lighting to become a Blingle franchisee.
We don't want you to have experience in lighting. With anything Horsepower Brands, like even our other verticals or other brands, I should say, if you're a roofer, you're not going to buy a roofing company. We get into home services for reasons, and a lot of those reasons aren't good reasons, and we're here to solve those.
Yeah, and when we talk about this idea of scaling, the statement you made, right, we're talking about that with Horsepower Brands, I could scale horizontally, so I could have multiple Blingle territories. But down the line, I could also add additional Horsepower Brands in the same territory and scale vertically.
Yeah, exactly. So we call it scaling up, not out. And I did this in my past, right? And so I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, and I bought the same franchise in Kansas City and Des Moines. Well, why not stack up, use my current customers, my current contacts, my network to continue to build multiple businesses that overlap each other. And so it's after doing so and knowing so many people that, by 28 locations all across the nation, 60 locations all across the nation, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, right. It makes a lot of sense, right? You can leverage, and I think that's so important. So there's a real advantage to that. Now, I know you've been a successful business owner, and so one of the things I always like to ask is, what characteristics do you see in a person to be a successful business owner?
It depends on their involvement. If you're going to be involved, you got to have some grit. You got to have vision, and you got to be able to execute. As an absent owner, maybe not so much the grit, but the vision and the execution and the ability to manage people and have a team.
Yeah. When you say absent, you mean semi-absentee, right? So they still need to be minding their business 15 or 20 hours a week, right?
So we call that semi-absent. We have franchise owners that are completely absent. They hire a GM to run their business. They have a salesperson and then the technicians.
Right, but they have to still manage their general manager and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So so we're saying the same thing because
it
takes time to manage the manager.
Yeah, exactly. We have we operate under the EOS model or traction. I'm not sure if you're if you are familiar with it. And so that ability to have that traction meeting once a week is 90 minutes, and you're still going to have touch points and some management on top of that, but it really can be minimized.
Yeah, well, yeah, 90 minutes. That's still, you're minding your business through the EOS. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, I always like to find out, kind of different things about individuals. So you've come with a lot of experience. And so first question for you is, if you could think of anybody that's given you some great advice in the past, what would be the best piece of advice somebody's ever given you?
I answer this question when someone asks me the best thing anybody's ever told me or the advice I've ever gotten is don't wish life away. Has nothing to do with business, but it's something that's always stuck with me. Be in the moment. Don't look towards the weekend. And that was a coach of mine who actually died of cancer. So I always share that just because it's super important to me, not to be looking forward too far and wishing life away. As far as business, man, I've been around such great people, such great entrepreneurs. And I think just more than anything, what anybody has said is just the experience that I've been through, the experience that I've gained. And I don't know if it's just a single quote for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, life is about a series of experiences that you stack up and that guides you. Right. So
yeah, I'm going to use that as my quote, Peter.
Yeah. All right. Well, now you have one. All right. Perfect. So one of the things I also like to find out is, because I love reading books, what's your favorite book?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, it's a series of books. There's an individual have you ever heard of John DeJulius?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that reading his books and understanding kind of the customer service revolution, making price irrelevant, you can say you can make price irrelevant, but taking the actions is far different. And I think those for me in my businesses and my experience have changed more than anything. So I would say maybe not a book, but an author of John DeJulius. I feel like he's a little less mainstream.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's a great recommendation. Thank you. So I think one of the things I got to ask you now is, and probably the most important question is, can you help me this fall to set up my lights? I need somebody to stay competitive in my neighborhood. So you think you guys can come help me get some lights up in my house?
Absolutely. Whether you want National Lampoon's Christmas or you want it super simple, everything we do is cut custom to your home. You're going to have the brightest lights and the best looking house on the block.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I am looking forward to utilizing Blingle to hold my own in my neighborhood, where I do have Clark Griswold. Literally, that is my neighbor. And so I got a big way to go, but I'm super excited to experience Blingle. So thank you so much. I wish you much success as you build a network of franchisees throughout the United States. It's going to be exciting to see where Blingle goes.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys having me. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to the Hire Yourself podcast. For more resources, check out our website at hireyourself.com. And remember to subscribe to this podcast to receive each episode. Please leave us a rating, and we'd love to hear your feedback or suggestions for topics.